I've listened to 3 by Phantogram for 7 years.
And I listened to it once yesterday.
Welcome to Spin It. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spin It, the record ranking podcast for people who would rather be listening to music. I'm James. It's Mixtober. With me is Connor.
I am here with you in spirit, not in person.
That's true, but also in voice. That's a key component of what we're doing. How's your Mixtober going?
Mixtober is going pretty great. October's been pretty rough.
Oh, that's not good. They happen concurrently.
Yeah, but separately.
I see.
I'm in a Mixtober state of mind.
Every month is Mixtober when you're with Connor in some ways. But yes, we've got another Mixtober album coming up, one that is perhaps maybe even a little more Mixtober-y than the Velvet Underground and Nico. Got some interesting selections here on the Phantogram episode. I think 3 is a Mixtober-ier pick.
Yeah?
I don't know what the adjective would be. We didn't come that far. Mixtober or Mixtober-ier?
I think it's Mixtober-ier. I know it's more of a mouthful, but...
Okay. I mean, it's a whole extra 2 syllables.
Yeah.
But you're right, I think that does make kind of more sense. Mixtober-ier pick for 3. Do you know Phantogram? I would have assumed that the answer would be no, but I realized that there's a chance that you very well might know Phantogram.
I didn't know them, but it was one of those things, I knew them, but I didn't know I knew them.
Okay, yeah. How did you know them but not know?
Well, like you, I also discovered a bit of information that made me realize they've been there all along.
A long time. Yeah. What did you discover? I think it's the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Go ahead. You can probably sum it up better than I could.
Well, what's fun about it is we learned about this from different sides, I think. Because, I mean, I discovered Phantogram in this album probably in 2017-ish, maybe 2018, but early 2018, I don't know. And it took until this podcast for you to start suggesting albums to me, and until you found Miley Cyrus, who you're a big fan of. And you were listening to Miley and Miley and Miley. And that, I think, is how you crossed paths with Phantogram. Because Phantogram was featured on the song Slab of Butter, parentheses, Scorpion, from Miley's record, Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets, which you knew all about.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of prior to this podcast.
But I didn't realize I knew them from that until you brought them to the podcast. I saw that when I was researching them.
You go to your Spotify and it says one liked song, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's always fun. How is Slab of Butter? Is it a good song? Bad song? Do you like it? I've never heard it.
I like it better than its namesake.
Than Scorpions or Slabs of Butter?
Slabs of butter.
Really? What's not to love? Except for, like, all the health complications.
Have you ever just ate a slab of butter? They do that, like deep fried butter. Like, that's like a fair food thing.
So I accidentally kind of feel like I did. There's an ice cream place that sells a butter cake ice cream, and when you sample it, the first 2 bites are awesome. So you sample it and you're like, this is excellent, and you get the cup
This is great.
and you're like, this is so good. And about 4 bites in, you start to feel like you're just eating straight off a stick of butter, and it's awful. So I have done that, and it's not great.
Interesting.
But if you use the butter with other things, it works out. But no, you're right. A slab of butter it's not strong enough to support itself. Is it a very Phantogrammy kind of song based on these 10 tracks that you heard? Or is it more Miley-y?
I think it's more Miley-y.
Okay.
Their sound like fits in well with what Miley's trying to do on that one.
Because she's a chameleon. She probably took their sound and Miley-ified it.
Yeah, kind of. I'm always hesitant to claim things like that and then be wrong.
Well, that's fair enough.
Because it's kind of a matter of opinion. So, I say, yeah, that's what she did. And then everybody goes and listens to it, like, what is he talking about?
But we're not here to talk about Miley Cyrus again. We've already done that twice. You can go listen to episodes 20 or 154? 156 for more of that.
Third time's the charm.
No, we're here to talk about Phantogram for the first time.
Yeah.
Phantogram, really Mixtober band name even. They are a duo from Greenwich, New York, made up of a pair of multi-instrumentalists and vocalists. They both kind of do all jobs. Sarah Barthel was born in February of 1983. Josh Carter was born in May of 1982. And it's interesting because, since they're both so multi-talented, both instrumentalists and vocalists. They kind of just do all the jobs at any given time, right? You listen to this Phantogram album, they could both probably pretty much do anything on any track. They both sing, they both play guitar, they both produce, program synthesizers. Like, they're a two-person show. The big difference, the only big difference that I could find between their roles in the band is that Sarah plays the piano, Josh plays the drums. So once you get past that, it gets a little ambiguous, but I know those two distinctions. The pair met in preschool, and they were really fast friends. They grew up together.
Aw.
I know, sweet, right? Phantogram as kids. Phantogram babies. What if they were making music like this when they were kids? That'd be cool. What if you just took your kids over for a play date at the other family's house and then they came out with a, same old blues?
That'd be pretty sweet.
It would. I don't think that's what happened, though. But we can dream. In 2007, Sarah's failed attempt at a visual arts degree at a school in Vermont, paired with Josh's exit from an experimental rock band that his brother was a part of, kind of led to the perfect opportunity for the two of them to come together and start doing something new together. They both had these major life changes at significant moments, and they said, you know what, let's take advantage, let's ride this wave. Their first band name was Charlie Everywhere. I can't get over the dramatic shift between Charlie Everywhere to Phantogram. That's an upgrade. But they did a little gigging around. They even released a pair of EPs on the local label Sub Bombin Records. It was enough of a start to get them on the radar of a UK label called Barely Breaking Even, which is currently home, by the way, to DJ Jazzy Jeff and will.i.am, among a couple others. Barely Breaking Even signed the band in 2009, which is when they changed their name to Phantogram, Charlie Nowhere. They chose the name Phantogram basically just because it was something they liked. They found the word and they liked it. Do you know what a Phantogram is?
I had to look it up.
I mean, me too.
I didn't want to say yes, and then you'd be like, oh, wow, look at you knowing things.
Oh, wow, look at you looking up things.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I wanted.
Right. Well, yeah, Phantogram.
I actually have one of those.
You have a Phantogram?
But they sell a toy version of one.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is or if I still have it.
Maybe it disappeared.
But I had a version of one.
I see. Basically, it's phantasmagoric. The word refers to an optical illusion in which 2D images look 3D. So, like a magic eye kind of trick.
Yeah. It's an optical illusion.
Yeah. They're also known as phantoglyphs or op-ups. So it's like a trick of depth perception that plays with parallax in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a Phantogram. That's really cool.
I don't know. Again, I didn't know that's what it's called, and who knows. I remember seeing it in a box of old stuff at one point in time.
You're an optical illusions kind of guy. I could see it.
Yeah, big fan of optical illusions.
Or maybe I couldn't see it, and that's the whole point.
Oh.
Anyway, Phantogram, new name, new band, same band. Their first proper EP, self-titled and called Phantogram, came out in May of 2009. Their second, called Running from the Cops, came out shortly thereafter. They gained a pretty significant following online, especially on account of their MySpace presence, and they put out their first LP called Eyelid Movies on September 15th, 2009, a little more than 15 years ago. Reviews were pretty positive of all this early work. Fans especially liked the three singles from Eyelid Movies called Mouthful of Diamonds, When I'm Small, and As Far As I Can See. Then they did another 2 EPs. Phantogram's a big EP band. They did 2 more EPs. They did a collab with Outkast, and their second record, Voices, came out in 2014. That's 5 years between LPs. Kind of a long gap to bridge, but singles like Objectum Sexuality and features on tracks by other bands like The Flaming Lips help them bridge that time gap and even grow their fan base during that off period from releasing music. They actually even did an entire EP with Outkast's Big Bois. Do you know Outkast? Do you know Hey Ya?
I don't think so.
I bet you'd know it if you heard it. But also, fun fact, and another time you may have heard Phantogram yourself with your own 2 ears, their song KYSA was featured on the soundtrack for Grand Theft Auto 5 on one of the in-game radio stations. So, that's where we pick up today. Their third studio album that they've aptly and simply entitled 3.
Not 2, not 1.
3. Perfect. Exactly. It'd be weird if they named it a different number, to be honest. Adele came out and started with 19. I mean, she skipped a lot. At least Phantogram is consistent. But by this point, they had signed with Republic Records, the home of Big Boy and Miley Cyrus and Skrillex, who they had also worked with back when dubstep was in the popular zeitgeist. So maybe those collabs make a lot more sense in the context of them being on Republic Records with the artists. 3 actually also features contributions from renowned session drummer Matt Chamberlain, who's played with everyone from Elton John to Pearl Jam to Fiona Apple. 3 also features award-winning vocalist Lauren Evans and Dan Wilson, who we talked about a long time ago. That guy from Semisonic, who's done everything. He was featured kind of on our Noah Khan episode because he worked with Noah on songs from Busy Head, and I did a little deep dive into his discography because it was so expansive. And here we've found Dan Wilson one more time. Look him up, because I can almost guarantee that you do know Dan Wilson songs, like plural.
I refuse to look it up.
That's fine. I mean, I already looked it up for you. That was more for the audience. I'm sure we've already talked about more than 2 Dan Wilson songs. I know it's true for you.
Impossible.
In fact, factual. But all those collaborations and stuff, that's the first time Phantogram would ever work with outside musicians on one of their own releases. You know, features are one thing, but this is the first time they brought people into the fold for a record. And it leads to kind of a new evolution for their sound. 3 is deep and dark, really driven electropop. The record came out on October 7th, 2016, which makes it 8 years old as of last week when the episode comes out. It's been a Mixtober baby all its life.
Wow.
It was born in Mixtober. Its episode is in Mixtober. Who knows what Mixtober milestone it'll hit next. And actually, 3 came out just 9 months after a major personal tragedy. Sarah Barthel's older sister took her own life in January of that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so a lot of the album deals with themes of loss and grief in a really immediate and personal way. Actually, a lot of the album initially was really striking to me because of those qualities. Before I even knew the full context, just to hear the album and hear them sing about loss and these things, like, that's kind of what drew me in back before I even knew any of the story behind it. When 3 came out, it debuted at number 5 on the Billboard Top Album Sales chart and went to number 9 on the Billboard 200. It's been met with pretty widespread acclaim, or at least I think a lot of people really ended up enjoying it. And I know I do. I think it's unique because we don't have anything quite like 3 in the Spin It repertoire yet. You got to broaden those horizons one Mixtober at a time, you know? To date, Phantogram has put out one more album, 2020 Ceremony, which I have also ranked and scored, but also that didn't feel like the one I wanted for an episode, I think.
I see.
I mean, it came out in 2020. Ceremony kind of like throws it way back for me, like into deep COVID times. It ended up on my Albums of the Month playlist in May of 2020. So, you know, what an interesting time. All the music from that period takes me right back. But yeah, 3 was 2017 for me. Ceremony, though, it did peak at number 75 in the US. Still ended up on the charts. Pretty good. And it seems like they've teased a 5th album that they're projected to come out in early 2024, in quotes, because here we are in October. So surely it's coming soon, right? Maybe it'll come out when this episode does. We have a habit of doing that. No promises, but maybe. Anyway, that's what I've got about Phantogram. I hope the Mixtaper's ready for another Mixtober factor spin. I know Phantogram gave him a little trouble at one point.
Not so much they gave him trouble, more he gave himself trouble.
I see.
On their behalf.
Yeah. Well, let's get him on in here and play some Fact or Spin. That's the new Factor Spin theme song.
Hey, it's me, the Mixtaper.
Hello, Mixtaper.
I'm here and ready to spin.
Great. I'm here and ready to call you out on your lies, I think. Or at least that's the goal.
You want to call your shot? How many are you going to get this week?
It's not going to be pretty. I'm going to get 2 on a technicality this week.
2 on a technicality? Like 2 of them on technicalities? Or like,
no, like
1 plus another one on a technicality, making it 2?
I'll get 1 and another one on a technicality. That's how I see this going down.
Oh, okay.
And I guess I should have a little more faith in myself. But that's just how I feel.
You've called it 2 on a technicality. So if you don't get that this week, you lose. So, you know, even if you had a perfect week, you'd still lose because it's not what you said you were going to get.
I don't think that's how it works. I think a 50-50 is a 50-50, no matter how you slice it. Well, you have to slice it right down the middle.
It's like when you're playing pool, you got to call the final pocket for the 8 ball.
Oh, and then even if I shoot it into the wrong pocket,
I
still lose.
Yep.
I don't like that.
I don't make the rules, I just play the game.
You do both those things, but let's play the game since you've apparently made the rules.
Where do we begin? I really like all 4 of these titles.
Not another week of misleading titles.
I like 3 of my 4 titles. They're fun, unique titles. And I have 1 repeat title that's a really funny fact that I don't want to start with. So I don't know where to begin. Start here. They use sound toys.
Sound toys?
Yeah.
Like instruments?
They use sound toys.
What's a sound toy? Like a toy that makes sounds?
It sure is.
Right, I guess. But what kind of sounds?
Depends on the type of sounds they need for the song that they're making.
Okay.
They collect various items that make cool sounds and incorporate them into their songs and refer to them as their sound toys.
Okay. So this is just a collection of items that make interesting sounds.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be toys. That's just how they're using them.
Yeah.
Shoot. I mean, we talked about, I think on the Mr. Wives episode, about them hitting a whisk against the counter or something like that for a rhythm. Like, that'd be a sound toy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be.
What kind of sound toys does Phantogram have in their arsenal?
Let's see. Before we get to that, let me give you a quote.
Oh, okay. I've been misdirected.
Sarah said, "We've been collecting our sound toys for years. It's become quite the collection in our studio. We've used them on every record we've released."
So they, like, have a box or something or a cart of these toys that they lug around to all their recording sessions? Or
I assume, in my mind's eye, it's a shelf, but
a shelf. They
Yeah.
set up a shelf of stuff in every studio.
I don't know. She referred to it as a collection in their studio, so I like to imagine they just got, like, the wall of sound toys. That's what I would do with them.
Yeah, well, probably in their home, if they have a studio in their basement or something, yeah, everything would be set up and accessible. But, like, what's in the collection?
Well, they like to give them weird names.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what they are, but I have a couple names.
Let's take an educated guess at what they are based on the names.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Well, the first one, Big Boy, spelled B-O-I.
Oh, that's just what they said? It's just called Big Boy?
It's in the list. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't have any idea what that could be.
Me neither. It made the list.
But I bet it makes a deep sound.
You know, that would be what I would anticipate it doing. Or making like a really high-pitched sound and it being a misnomer.
Oh, like an ironic thing.
Yeah. They have the Panomatic, which context clues make me think now it's a pan.
Yeah, that one sounds like a kitchen dish.
Trimbletron, I think is how that would be pronounced. Trimbletron.
Okay, something wobbly. Maybe also a pan that they shake. Some kind of metal sheet.
All their sound toys are just different pans.
Just different pans. Phantogram.
Big Boy is like a giant wok.
Yeah, the rock walk. That's what I'd call that.
Oh yeah, Big Boy would maybe be like one of the giant like 12-quart saucepans or something.
Yeah, like a big pot.
But yeah, they use sound toys.
But you don't know what any of those names mean.
No.
And you don't know anything in there that's not named.
No, I don't have any idea of the actual items themselves.
Why would they reveal the names of what the things are and not what they're made of? Why would they go on an interview and say, "Oh yeah, we make music with Big Boy and Wiggle Jiggle and all this"?
Wiggle Jiggle, amazing.
Why wouldn't you ask a follow-up question as an interviewer and say, "What is that?"
Oh, if they don't have one called Wiggle Jiggle, I'm gonna be sad.
They should.
They need one. What pan is Wiggle Jiggle?
I don't know. I can't tell if the lack of details and specifics in this one is working for you or against you.
Well, I guess that'll come down to whether or not you're right or not.
I think it's a clever trick.
Trevor, jeez, I can't talk today.
A Trevor Click. Yeah, I think it's a Trevor Click because I think you think. I would assume that if you made up these names, you'd make up a weird object to go with them. And by you not having
the weird object, you think.
I think
that
maybe
you
it's-
think I think that I'm trying to trick you into thinking this is true by not having an item to go with the weird names.
Right, like I'm just going to make up a weird name, but pretend not to know what it belongs to so that it's not suspicious.
I see.
I would love it if they used sound toys and named them strange things. That'd be awesome, but I'm going to say this one...
Going with spin?
Yeah, I'm going to say this one's a spin.
Lock that in for me. Go ahead.
I'm going to lock in that this one's a spin.
All right. This is indeed a spin.
Okay. Oh, I really almost changed just based on the way that you said something like, yeah.
Oh.
Like you said, okay.
I was hoping you were going to change. I was really hoping you were going to change. I wasn't trying to throw you off. I'll be honest, I pivoted last second on this one. This was going to be a true fact at the beginning.
Really?
And then as I was telling it to you, I thought of why not make them real sound toys? And so then it was a real panic to come up with, I didn't want to just start naming items and get either too specific or too unrealistic.
Oh.
If I start naming items, you'd be like, oh, what sound does it make?
Where did they use that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to go down a rabbit hole I did not want to go down. So I just came up with weird names that were on this page and said that I didn't know what the instruments were. So that was purely, I didn't want to get trapped down a rabbit hole I didn't want to be down.
Well, part of the reason I was suspicious of it was because Big Bois was the outcast. He's an outcast, and they worked with him and made an album. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
That they would name something Big Bois. But I was like, maybe they used it or were inspired by him. But I clocked that as a strange name.
Yeah, I shouldn't have used that one.
So what's the truth that you almost started with?
I just thought Big Bois was a funny name for a toy.
It is. What was the truth you almost started with?
So they do use sound toys, as in the product.
There's a specific product called Sound Toys?
Sound Toys 5, to be exact.
Oh, like a DAW? Like a recording software?
The ultimate effects solution.
Oh.
Sound Toys 5 includes all 22 Sound Toys plugins, including the new Super Plate Reverb, Decapitator, Filter Freak, Little Alter Boy, Echo Boy, Little Plate, and Effect Rack.
Got it. It's just an effects pack that they use. That is a proper noun, Sound Toys.
Uh-huh. And so the unedited Sarah quote is, we've been using Sound Toys on every record we've released. It's become a must-have in our studio. So I added the bit about them collecting them since they were young.
Smart.
But they said Sound Toys plugins are great for adding psychedelic textures to simple chopped up samples that we use to write. We started with a simple sample of my voice for the middle 8. From there, it felt too choppy and clean, so I added these effects to grit it up, space it out, and make it feel like you were surrounded by wolves and lions in a room with no lights on.
Accurate.
That refers to their song Run Run Blood.
Oh, yeah.
Which is on this album, where they used Pan Man.
Pants, see?
Tremolator, which is what I turned into Trembletron, or whatever I said.
Yeah.
Filter Freak, and Crystallizer were the effects they used on Run Run Blood.
I see.
But a lot of people used it. Dr. Dre, they just have a bunch of testimonials.
Others.
From. Well, I don't know who you would know and who you wouldn't know, so I just stopped there.
Reasonable.
But yeah.
That's cool. I like the idea, though, of actually collecting interesting sounds. It's pretty cool, but pretty impractical.
In my head, the minute that I decided to switch it to that, what I started picturing was the people who do sound effects for animated movies, how the things they use to make those sounds are never what you would expect them to be.
Yeah, not even just animated, too.
Yeah, that's true, but I imagine they just have like these weird collections of items that they can pull out, and they know what sounds they can reproduce with them when they need to work.
Probably.
So that was the last second pivot. I think if I told you the truth, you would have got it also, so that's why I pivoted.
Yeah, that is not unlikely. Well, that's my one that I called, so I'm dead on so far.
They want to help create the best a man can be.
That's complicated. Now, the best a man can get is already a slogan, but this is the best a man can be. What's the best a man can...
The best a man can get is what I meant to say there.
Oh, it's like, are you talking about like Gillette, but like different? The best a man can get.
They want to help create the best a man can get.
Got it.
My bad.
So they're working with Gillette, I assume.
Yeah.
Right. Razors and things.
Yeah.
Cool. What are they doing? Are they just in a commercial? Like their music? Like Vampire Weekend was with Dick's Sporting Goods?
Well, Josh is. But I guess they both are musically, but Josh is actually in it.
Okay, physically in it. Shaving, I would imagine?
No.
Oh. What's he doing?
Mid-shave, but not actually shaving. Making a weird face at the camera.
He's in the commercial making a weird face at the camera while Phantogram's playing in the background.
Yeah. Well, the song is playing in the background, not the band.
Yeah. Right, because he's busy making faces.
Just to be clear, When I'm Small is the song.
When I'm Small. I don't actually know that one.
Once you see this commercial, you will.
You're right. I'm about to either know it or not. Well, I'll go listen to it anyway. Why Phantogram? What's their pitch?
Don't really know how the deal got worked out. I assume Gillette approached their record company and was like, we need a song for a commercial. I don't know how these deals work out,
Sure.
In my head, that's how it works. The company goes, hey, company that owns songs, we need a song. And they go, here's some. Do you like any of these? And they go, that one.
Sometimes. And other times it's tire companies going, man, we really need this Tom Petty song. Really
Even if we have to recreate it ourselves.
We'll do it. Yeah, it just depends.
But anyway, when it got to the point where Phantogram was being made aware of this, they were like, well, Josh was like, can I be in it?
Oh, he requested to be in it after the music was in.
Yeah. Paraphrasing, he was like, pretty please. And they were like, sure, come make a weird face.
Come make a weird face in the middle of shaving at the camera.
Yeah, so the commercial opens with a bunch of different guys making weird faces at the camera as if the camera was like where the mirror would be while they were shaving.
Sure.
And then a narrator says, these are the faces men make when they're trying to get every last hair.
I might have seen that.
And then it's like, introducing the Flex Ball technology, whatever, razor.
Not a sponsor.
And then it cuts to some of the men making like masculine faces at the camera with a clean shave, but he does not get featured in that part. He's only in the weird face part.
He doesn't make the model cut. He only makes the weird face cut.
Yeah, so when you said he was shaving, I was like, well, technically not.
And he's just one of a lot of people in it.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 people making weird faces. He's one of them.
Okay.
It's a big deal on the r/Phantogram subreddit. Many a post.
Oh, I bet. But also, I bet not.
You don't bet.
I'm going to say I think this one's not true.
Okay. Lock that in for me.
I'm going to lock in that this one's a spin. They don't want to help create the best a man could be or get.
That's to say, was that the technicality you were about to go for?
We'll find out.
Yeah, this is a spin.
Oh, good. I do think I've really seen that commercial, though.
Yeah, you probably have. Their song is being used in it.
Is it? That's kind of what I assumed was the true part.
Yeah, he's not in it, but how could I not put him in it? Couldn't resist.
Yeah. It also would have helped if I had heard the song, because this is not the kind of Phantogram song that would be on 3, which is most of what, or Ceremony for that matter, which is what I know. Well, what a good sync placement.
You know those sound toys on there, though?
Yeah, think about the sound toys in a razor.
But yeah, and on r/Phantogram, under a list of movies and TV shows Phantogram has appeared in, there was a link to an r/Tip of my tongue post for where have I heard the Phantogram song when am I small, and there somebody put a link, it says Gillette commercial ?
Lo and behold.
And it was to that commercial.
It sure was the Gillette commercial.
It was a bit of a deep dive to find that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then apparently here recently, in I think maybe 2019 or something, it was then used in an Apple commercial or something, because there was a bunch of people on the Reddit was like, finally I can get the Gillette commercial out of my head and replace it with this Apple commercial.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The best a man can be.
Whoops.
I do think maybe this was my technicality point. Yeah.
No, I don't think you didn't get it right on a technicality. You just got it right.
Well, that is also true, and I'll take being right any day of the week, believe me.
If you had let it go without correcting me and then been like, it's a spin because the slogan is the best a man can get, and then I would have been like, yeah, all right, you know what? You got me.
No, you would not. Don't pretend that you would have been all cool with that.
For the bit, I absolutely would have.
I doubt it, but okay. Not in Mixtober of all months.
Well, it's time for a return fact.
I was worried we might see a return. It's Mixtober, so there's some danger here.
I'll be honest, if it wasn't for it was just giving you a free point, I really wanted to bring ghost detecting equipment just because their name is Phantogram.
100% would have been a free point for me.
No, it absolutely would have, but listen, the fact was calling to me, and I had to resist the temptation.
Had to turn it down.
But anyway, this is a repeat fact in the sense that we've had this title before probably a couple times, but it's got a fun, unique twist.
So not a repeat fact, just a repeat title.
Yeah. They are part of a unique club.
Shoot, you used a variant on this title just last week when you said Lou Reed was in a special club with Johnny Cash.
Listen, I'm all about the clubs right now, all right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Me and the Twisted Sisters, we're all about the clubs.
All clubbing. What are you talking about? Fogarty is a part of a super trio. Not really a club. Well, what club is Phantogram in?
A Bill Murray club.
They're in Bill Murray Club?
A Bill Murray club.
What's that, like a Bill Murray fan club?
No.
Is this like a Groundhog Day thing?
Are you aware of their song called Bill Murray?
Maybe.
It would sure help if you did know about that song.
Suppose I did not.
Well, they have a song called Bill Murray.
I do see that, yes.
And that has led them to become part of an interesting club.
A Bill Murray club.
Yeah.
Well, what's the Bill Murray club do?
Well, they don't do anything. It's what Bill Murray does.
Bill Murray does things for them.
He does things for him.
Okay.
Kind of for them, probably. They benefit from it.
What's he do? Like, talk about their songs?
Well, he has talked about it in an interview.
Does he listen to it? Does he just listen to the songs about him?
He has listened to it in an interesting way. We'll come back to that.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
But he covers it.
Oh, that is interesting. He's covered.
Here's another fun fact that you can't verify right now because it may accidentally spoil things if you click on things you're not supposed to.
Of course.
But Bill Murray himself has his own verified artist Spotify page. It has things like The Bare Necessities that he sang for the Jungle Book live action movie.
Uh-huh.
And some other songs he sung in other movies. And it also includes a list of song covers from every band that has named a song Bill Murray.
This isn't a fact about Phantogram at all.
Well, they're part of the club of...
Yeah. So Bill Murray hunts down. And
Well, I don't know about hunts down, but when made aware of, I would assume. I don't know if he's out there actively like, I need to find all the songs with my name.
searching my name. Maybe we'll really give him a tough time and name this podcast episode Bill Murray. Good luck, Bill. So, well, how many are there?
Well, there's 4. I mean, I don't know if that's everyone, but he's done at least 4 of them.
That's kind of a lot.
A lot of songs to be named Bill Murray or a lot of covers for Bill Murray to do?
Mostly I'm thinking a lot of songs to be named Bill Murray.
Well, luckily his covers are Bill Murray, parentheses, the band or artist's name. So it was really easy to go find and listen to these.
Oh, so you could tell them apart. Yeah, if you just put out a random song called Bill Murray, you'd have a hard time figuring that one out. Does he have more or less plays on his covers? Has he ratioed Phantogram on Bill Murray?
I don't know. How many plays does Phantogram's Bill Murray have?
Well, Phantogram's Bill Murray, it's on their 2013 album Voices. It's got 10.8 million streams on Spotify.
He has not ratioed them, but honestly, could be worse.
Okay, well, where's he sitting?
His has 3.5 million, rounding to the nearest 500,000.
That feels like a lot.
Yeah, every song on his discography has... oh, no, hang on. If you hit show more, there's a few that...
There's more. If you hit show more, there's more.
There's more.
Imagine
well,
that.
all the ones that were... So, all the ones that were on the show less had at least 1 million. So, I was going to say they all did, but...
Oh, but more revealed the truth.
Let me... Hang on, are there any more Bill Murrays in here that I'm missing? Hang on. No, just those 4, at least in the popular top 10. Yeah, all 4 that I have listened to have at least 1 million.
You listened to all 4 Bill Murray covers?
Oh, yeah, I said that. I said it was really easy to find all 4 and listen to them.
I thought you just listened to the Phantogram one.
I listened to the Phantogram one. I listened to Bill Murray's Phantogram cover.
Of course.
And then I was like, well, let's go listen to the other ones and listen to Bill Murray's covers of those.
Who are they?
That's what I've been waiting on you. I've had them pulled up. Bill Murray by Matt Nathanson. Bill Murray by Gorillaz with a Z.
Oh, Gorillaz, okay.
Bill Murray by Phantogram. And Bill Murray by Sweatshop Union.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite Bill Murray cover or my favorite of the songs?
I would guess cover. I don't think you listened to 8 songs called Bill Murray. I feel like you just went for the 5. You know, the 4 covers in the Phantogram.
No, I'm telling you, after doing
to a full album's worth of Bill Murray's?
Yes, I just said that. Were you not listening to me?
I thought you just went... I guess I've just missed the part where you said you listened to the originals, too.
Yeah, I said after I did Phantogram's Bill Murray and then Bill Murray's cover of Phantogram's Bill Murray, I then was like, well, let's go listen to the other 3 Bill Murrays and Bill Murray's covers of those 3 songs.
Got it.
So yeah, I've done 8 Bill Murrays. I've done an album of Bill Murray's.
It really has to feel like Groundhog Day. Like, that's not a coincidence. By the time you get done, you're like, again?
I really liked the Gorillaz Bill Murray, but it was a little long.
Typical Gorillaz.
But I think Bill Murray probably did the best covering Phantograms.
Okay. This is wild. This is wild.
I told you I couldn't start with the one that was the repeat title.
No. How much of this is a spin? Like, could you have just said the wrong people that also covered Bill Murray's and you'd call that a spin?
No, I'm not trying to pull a technicality on you.
Okay. Good. I'm just checking. I want to believe this. I think this is true.
Lock that in for me.
I guess I'm going to lock in that this is a fact. And I'm 100% being swayed by the fact that I just want this to exist.
This is indeed a spin.
I knew it.
All 4 of those songs exist. There are 4 songs called Bill Murray by those 4 artists, but Bill Murray has not covered them.
Oh, imagine, though. That wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
It wouldn't be, and that's why I came up with it. Also, I couldn't find the source that confirmed this quote, but I found a quote from a Bill Murray interview that said, hearing Phantogram's song Bill Murray in an empty record shop with Christmas lights was a magical moment in his life.
Wow.
Could not find anything to validate that statement, but, I found that statement, so have with it what you will.
I'm glad you presented it as such. I imagine some record store employee was like, that's Bill Murray over there. Play the song. And fired it up on the iPod.
I'm surprised you don't know anything about this. So the Bill Murray song, they said when they were writing it, every time it's like a really melancholy, sad song, right? Mm-hmm. And as they were writing it, they kept picturing Bill Murray being just a sad Bill Murray, like at the bottom of a pool or in some other sad scenario, right? And so they used just the placeholder as they were working on it, Bill Murray, to refer to the song.
It does sound like Bill Murray sitting on the bottom of a pool.
And so when it came time to actually name the song, they were like, what the heck? Let's just leave it Bill Murray.
It doesn't make any sense. Well, that's wild. If only that were true.
One can dream. This is maybe how you can get your technicality if Bill Murray covers those four songs.
If I can persuade Bill Murray to release those 4 covers.
I will give you your point.
Does it have to be Bill Murray the actor?
It sure does.
Okay, I'm just saying, if we're really going technicalities, well, that really busts my ghost. Oh, Ghostbusters, Phantogram. I should have been way more suspicious of you.
It had nothing to do with that. I mean, they actually have a song called Bill Murray.
Yeah, I know, and I
I
can see that.
The suspicion would have been completely off base, but maybe would have helped you.
Maybe. Who knows? Couldn't have done any worse.
But it's time for fact number 4. I'll be honest, that was probably the final ramp, but I couldn't end on that because I was afraid you would then just call it a spin.
Oh, I see.
I had to put that at 3. But this one has a fun title as well. They wanted to title this album properly.
Ooh, I like this because I don't actually know this.
I went into your notes to confirm.
And it looks like you did it right this time.
And I did it right this time, yay!
So obviously the album ended up titled and number. We got 3.
Yeah.
What did they want to call it?
They still wanted it to be called 3.
Oh.
They just wanted it titled properly.
How do you properly title it? Like with the number 3 or?
With the number 3.
Okay. Why didn't they do that? Other than search engine optimization being already horrible for THREE and maybe even worse for III. 3 has to be hard.
Well, they wanted it to be the number 3, but the number 3 written properly.
What does that mean?
Well, there's a proper way and an improper way to write the number 3. The improper way can cause confusion and potential forgery. The proper way provides clarity and security. I added that part.
I see. Well, what's the improper way to write a 3?
With the double loop?
Like everyone writes a 3?
Yeah, most everybody writes it wrong.
Okay, and you're saying that could lead to forgery because people could...
It can be turned into an 8.
Yeah, change it to 8.
Mm-hmm. The proper way to write the number 3 is with a flat top.
Yeah, crew cut.
Sure, crew cut.
Well, yeah, flat top, crew cut 3.
So they wanted crew cut. What? They wanted crew cut 3 to be the title of this album.
Okay.
Number 3, but on like all the everything, they wanted it to be crew cut. I can't say that.
It's like a requirement.
They wanted it to be crew cut 3.
Right, crew cut 3. Well, they didn't get it.
No.
Is that a record label decision? And they said, look, it's already bad enough.
Yeah, pretty much. They were like, that's too much work.
I don't know about work.
And you guys aren't famous enough. That's how I imagine that went. They were like, yeah, you don't bring in enough money for us to care enough.
Well, it's just going to be almost impossible to search that.
Yeah.
Especially since Phantogram is already another word. Like other bands have done 3s, right? The Lumineers did 3 and it's III. But they're the Lumineers. And you can just search Lumineers and get a bunch of results because it's not a normal noun.
Yeah.
Phantogram 3 could take you to anything. Now it doesn't, but it could. Is there any bad blood about having to settle for letters?
I don't think so. Didn't seem like it.
That's good.
Sorry, was that not the answer you wanted? Maybe, yes, there's a ton of bad blood. I don't know, you just seem skeptical of my answer there.
No, I'm not skeptical. I'm just curious.
You were like,
Well, I'm thinking. I'm going to also say this one's a spin.
I think I went all spins this week.
It's not impossible, yeah, that you've gone all spins this week.
Lock that in for me.
You're very diligent about the locking in this week.
Yeah.
We don't want another All-American Rejects. Yeah, I'll lock in spin, and I think the album was always meant to be called 3, I guess, but not flat top 3 all the time everywhere. I'm sure they were plenty fine with THREE from the start.
Well, to that I have to say to you.
You just sent me a 3.
Yeah, but flat top. Crew cut.
One of these days you'll get it right.
Ugh, look at your forgery susceptible 3.
I mean, I'll admit your 3 does look pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool 3.
With the flat top, yeah, but...
All in all, this is a spin.
Whew, a relief.
I did come in today saying I'm here and ready to spin.
You did, and you did it 4 times.
Yeah, but to be fair, I changed one of them. It was going to be a 3-in-1 week.
Oh, that's true.
It turned into an all spins week on the fly. I found this one by Googling weird facts about the number 3.
I can't imagine there are many.
I got 10 of them.
Really? What are some of the other weird 3 facts? 10 facts about 3 and 3 facts about 10.
Some of them are actual, like, fun facts. Other ones are just, like, here's how sports work. Like, the first one is, in the game of baseball, a batter is out of the match if he strikes out 3 times.
Right, just what 3 is used for.
Yeah. And then the atomic number of the chemical element lithium is 3. I tried to make something out of that, but couldn't come up with anything plausible. It says, in normal conditions, lithium takes on a silvery white appearance. This alkali metal is the lightest of all metals and is extremely flammable. So I thought about saying one of them got lit on fire.
Oh.
But I didn't. It is apparently, this is a fun one. It's considered unlucky to light 3 cigarettes with the same match.
That's considered really hard.
But the most common possible source comes from World War I. As the story goes, if a sniper spots a soldier in the trenches and lights a cigarette, he will be alerted. By the time the second cigarette is lit, he has aimed his sniper rifle. The third man to light his cigarette would be shot, as the sniper has had enough time to prepare. Whether there's truth to this or not, the superstition has stuck.
Well, I guess that depends on if you're passing the match or not.
Or if you're sitting there lighting 3 cigarettes, like, hey, can I have a cigarette? And you're like, light one and then pass it to him or whatever.
Like at once, nose to nose, and light all 3 at once from your mouth.
Ooh.
I'd survive a sniper attack, maybe. That's what that... if I were a smoker, forget about it.
Hey, but if the sniper doesn't get you, the lung cancer will.
Touche.
Who got the last laugh?
Well, it sounds like me. I'd be the dead one. I would have laughed for the last time.
Yeah, that's true. But, I think this was a pretty fun random factor spin.
Well, I do too. That was interesting. We learned a lot about 3, the number.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about Bill Murray, kinda.
Yep.
We learned a lot about Gillette razors and the best a man can be.
I mean, I based 3 of those off of real facts.
True that. Those are the hardest ones. But I've got to say, I was way wrong. I should have had a little more faith in myself.
Yeah, unfortunately, I won this round in a factor spin, unfortunately. You got the 3 for 4, but you didn't call the shot right, so you ultimately lose.
I don't know about all that, but
See if you have better luck next time.
I guess I will.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Mixtaper, and welcome back to Connor.
Or in Connor.
What?
You said welcome back to Connor, as if, like, we are in...
No, not welcome back.
Or, like, Connor is, like, a program that we are tuning back into after a commercial break.
We now return. We now return to Connor. Yeah, I like that. Well, let's talk about this album cover. It's a white border. It's a bonfire in a forest, maybe? Behind it, you know, there's trees and woods.
Yeah, I think they're just, like, in, like, maybe a field, and then there's, like, a little foresty patch.
Yeah.
You know how fields be.
I do, yeah.
Look at those nice clouds. It's a nice day for a bonfire.
It's a good bonfire, too. Like, it's raging. To the point, like, where it almost looks like a volcano erupting if you stand back far enough or don't pay enough attention to it. Kind of looks like a big explosion. Well, what I can tell you about this album cover is the photo was taken by Nicholas Balcazar. That's what I know. But it is on fire, and that leads pretty directly into the first track on the album, Funeral Pyre. What, pray tell, were your expectations for Phantogram, knowing them from Miley's Slab of Butter? Was it anything like Funeral Pyre?
Well, I guess my expectations were... I didn't really give any expectations.
Okay, keeping an open mind.
Because I didn't realize... I don't know. I guess after I made that realization, I was just kind of like, oh, I guess I've heard them. And then didn't think any more of it.
I see. Well, then how did Funeral Pyre strike you?
I really liked Funeral Pyre.
Okay. It's such an interesting start to the album.
It is.
I mean, you start to get a sense of, like, the darker synth, electronic pop nature of it kind of right away. I really like, I mean, the Mixtaper talked a lot about sound toys, but I really do like the way they produce the vocals and sample things on a lot of these tracks. Mm-hmm. It's, like, very clearly digitally altered, but, like, intentionally. They take it down to just the parts of the voice or the phrase or whatever they want you to hear. Not so much on the singing, but, like, you know, Light in the Sky, Day and Night. That sounds exactly like they want it to sound, you know?
Yeah.
Also a good song for the drums. Really love the drums on Funeral Pyre. It's a really evocative image, too. I mean, to start with this idea of a funeral and a funeral pyre, That's like beyond a funeral. That's putting your boat out to sea and like smoke on the water kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My ship of fire, as it sinks, I rise. All I see is your eyes. They don't have many lyrics in the song, but they do a lot of good work with the few that they do have. Notably, they only say funeral pyre once towards the middle of the song.
It just has they have a really nice sound.
Yeah, especially the instrumental breaks in there. I mean, the song starts kind of small, and by the time we get to the guitar solo, it gets pretty huge.
I agree.
It's a pretty rockin' start to the album, and honestly, it surprises me with as few lyrics as there are. I'm always shocked when I see the timestamp at 4 minutes and 5 seconds.
It doesn't feel like it's that long.
No, in my head, it always just happens so fast, when in fact, it's one of the longer songs on the album. I kind of consider it like an intro track. Like, it is a full-fledged song, but it feels and it functions so much like opening the door into this album that I always just kind of picture it as a scene setter. And then it feels like Same Old Blues is like a proper opening track.
I like the call and response of Same Old Blues.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's built on a sample of a song called Oh Yes, My Lord by Voices of Conquest. That's, the gospel choir you can hear chopped up in the background. Sarah said, in general, our influences range so much, and we always try to put as many influences as we can in our songs. Same Old Blues turned out more gospel than shoegaze. It's one of my favorite songs on the record, and it sure is. What a hit. It's one of the biggest songs on the record.
Yeah, rightfully so. I think I like everything about that song.
Me too. Also interesting that shoegaze has kind of made a return. We talked about it briefly on episode, 14.
We did. I was going to say, man, that's been a while since we talked about that one.
I know. Well, we talked about how the Smashing Pumpkins kind of leaned into shoegaze styles. And we kind of described, it's called shoegaze because instrumentalists and guitar players who play shoegaze with its big wall of sound and cacophony, they spend so much time looking at their effects pedals on the floor where their shoes are. And it just creates this undefinable mess of noise.
Yeah.
And a lot of the parts of Same Old Blues end up that way, especially the big instrument hits. I mean, the sample kind of cuts through clear, but then there's like, at the end of phrases, these big resonant notes that help change the chords and stuff, and that feels shoegazy. And Funeral Pyre itself feels shoegazy, honestly.
I've decided that the bass drop was created using Big Boy, the sound toy.
Big Boy, the sound toy? TOI. That you just made up, right? You just made up Big Boy, the sound toy.
Right, yeah.
But if they did have a sound toy called Big Boy, that would have been for the big drop in Same Old Blues.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said I've decided that's what it would have been used for.
The big... What a great element of the song. The bass in this and other songs is really such a cool tool that they use, especially the way they contrast it with the early parts of the chorus. I guess a pre-chorus. I keep on having this dream where I'm stuck in a hole and I can't get out. It's mostly just a vocal and a little keyboard doing a chord behind it. The tempo slows down a little bit. It really holds back. And then we get back into the hand claps and the peppy rhythms and then the breakdowns. The bass really contrasts that lighter section pretty nicely. Also kind of feels like another Groundhog Day kind of song. This is nothing new, it's just the same old blues. I lost my future to the past, I've got nobody left, I'm going nowhere fast. This is just the same awfulness that's happened to me all the time. I'm on the hamster wheel. And there's just some interesting imagery in here too. My heart is down on its knees. Pretty solid personification. No one's hearing me screaming. Always something pulling me down. It's not a happy song by any means.
No.
But boy, is it fun to listen to. So Same Old Blues was a winner for you. It's a winner for me. I also really, really like You Don't Get Me High Anymore. What a good back-to-back pairing.
It's so interesting because it has more Spotify plays.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the song.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was too similar to Same Old Blues and therefore didn't make my top 3.
Interesting.
I think Same Old Blues stole some of the thunder of You Don't Get Me High Anymore.
I think that's totally, yeah, you're right, fully an album sequencing problem. Because, as someone who's listened to this album for 7 years, they're distinct in my mind.
Yep.
But that's because I've had them come up on shuffle individually so many times.
Having one listen last night.
Yeah.
And that's the way they were presented. I really enjoyed it. I have a lot of nice things to say about You Don't Get Me High Anymore, but when it came time to create the top 3, didn't make the cut.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of like the opposite of Heroin from last week, right?
Yeah.
But in principle, also the same. It's not a song glorifying drug use, right? Much like Heroin was trying to be an objective look at what the experience of using heroin is like.
So if this is the opposite, this is a subject.
Well, not really, but not. I don't know. Sarah said, it's less about drug use and more about trying to find that happiness that was once easy to find.
Yeah.
When life was more simple and less complicated.
I feel like this kind of topic is something that has been touched on in music before. This idea of trying to recapture the feeling, but it never being the same.
Sure. Oh, definitely. I just don't think it's framed in the way of like building up tolerance to a drug. You know, that's how it goes. The high starts really strong when it's new and your system has never had anything like that before, right? You're a lightweight. And then the more you use it, the more you need to reproduce that same experience. And that's kind of what they're getting at.
Sure.
Used to take 1, now it takes 4. You don't get me high anymore.
Yep.
And it doesn't actually have to limit itself to being about a person. Sarah also said the song's supposed to be sort of a head scratcher.
Be about anything.
Yeah.
I can't eat just one chicken nugget anymore.
When could you ever?
Fair enough.
If it were about chicken nuggets, the song would be used to take 1, now it takes 50.
Used to take 10, now it takes 50.
You don't get me high anymore, Wendy's chicken nuggets. That was true. He did that, by the way, in our episode about lights.
Yeah,
If you missed that,
I sure did.
he ate 50 chicken nuggets in an episode
Didn't mean to, but it happened.
on accident.
Well, it eventually became purposeful towards the end.
Once you could see the finish line,
Yeah, once I passed the point of no return.
but you were sure saying nothing is fun, not like before. Oh, you're lucky you weren't running through emergency rooms. No, but yeah, it doesn't have to be about a person or a chicken nugget or anything. She just said it's supposed to be sort of a head scratcher. It should mean whatever it means to you. That's what we like most about the lyrics. It's full of polarizing imagery or juxtapositions that can mean whatever they want to you. And what imagery? I mean, obviously it's based around drugs, right? With cut it up, everybody's on something, my chemical best friend. But that doesn't necessarily, it's not physically, literally drugs. And also, here's a fun fact about this one.
Go ahead.
There's a lyric in the song about waking up from a dream where your teeth fall out of your head. Is that a dream that you've ever had? You ever dreamt your teeth away?
So, this just came up in my life.
Really?
Like, the other day.
Wow, okay.
Not like I had the dream, but I first heard of this dream just the other day.
So someone you know has had this dream where the teeth fell out of the head.
No, a comedian had a new special on Netflix where it came up.
Oh, I see. Maybe they listened to Phantogram.
And it apparently is a pretty common theme.
Apparently it is. I didn't know about it myself, but yeah, that's a real dream that Josh actually has from time to time. A recurring nightmare
It's a real dream a lot of people have.
where your teeth fall out.
And apparently someone had it so bad, they were in the dream, they took a bite of something and all their teeth started falling out. And then they woke up and were like, huh. And then their teeth started falling out and they woke up again. They had a dream within a dream. They had double teeth fallout dream.
They incepted themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
Imagine thinking you just woke up from a dream and then having your teeth fall out and the immediate panic that would bring.
Yeah, it's stuff like that that makes me grateful. I kind of don't remember dreams very well.
Yeah, same.
Not a big dreamer.
I remember them really well when I first wake up. I'm talking like first 5 seconds. Like my eyes are opening. I'm like, oh, that dream was wild. And then by the time I'm vertical.
Usually I don't even get that far.
But the feeling of the dream is still there, right? If it was like a wild dream or something like really funny happened in a dream, I'll wake up, be like, oh, that was really funny. I need to remember that. And then stand up and be like, but what do I need to remember? Oh, it was so funny.
You need a dream journal.
Yeah, but the problem is it only lasts like 10 seconds. So like I don't have enough time to write it down.
Yeah, that's rough.
I need something that like when my alarm goes off, it instantly starts recording so I can just wake up and immediately say what my dream was about before it's gone.
Then you'll forget to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's You Don't Get Me High Anymore. I would totally agree that it's pretty similar to Same Old Blues in a lot of ways. Just the sound profile, the shoegazey style, the I'm constantly stuck in this cycle thematic trend. I get that. But if you want a song that breaks it up a little bit, how about Cruel World? That takes us kind of in a whole new direction.
It does take us in a whole new direction.
Yeah, we're really piano focused. We get some pretty straightforward vocals. There's not as much chopping up right at first. I mean, it gets there. Eventually, we throw in a sample, a soulful sample that gets chopped up like Same Old Blues. It's a song called Every Boy and Girl by Lee Moses. But I think that's cool. I think it illustrates just how cruel the world is. The song starts off apologetic, kind of gentle. I'm putting you out of your misery. You're dragging me down. It's unfortunate that I have to do this, but it's a cruel world. And then, boom, the drop happens. Boom, the cruel world kicks in. It's tough out there. And then the second verse kind of walks us through all the ways that the world, being cruel, has made the speaker really callous.
I really like the lyrics. I used to see beauty in people, but now I see muscle and bones. Mm-hmm. It's a good line.
I know. It does such a good job at showing just how jaded the speaker has become. Like, you used to have meaning to me. I used to consider you as a human, right? Subjectively. But over time, I've just been around too much. The world is too cruel, and now all I can see you as is another casualty as I move myself forward. So I got to cut you loose. I'm saying my goodbyes. It's interesting because it's a song that I don't think ever gets as big as any of the songs before it, but its message is just as heavy. It's just presented in a different context. That's really cool.
I don't know how I feel about the good, bye echo.
But you don't like the sample?
Is that what that is?
Yeah, Every Boy and Girl by Lee Moses. That's the big chorus part.
I like it, but I don't know. It was maybe a little overused.
I guess. Sometimes those things are hit or miss with you. Like if it is a sample that's chopped up to become a part of the sound profile like this one, I feel like that tends to hit more than it misses.
Yeah, it tends to. And it did hit at first. It was just a little overused. That's all. It hit just too much.
I see.
I'm sore now.
It hit too hard. I'm bruised. No, that's a cruel, cruel world. That's what they say. A song that fascinated me the first time I heard it, and honestly still does every time since, is that halfway point of this album, Barking Dog. Just the strings and the intensity to it and the storytelling really caught my eye and my ear on Barking Dog.
How do you feel about hurt people?
What do you mean, that it's a cliche?
Yeah.
Or how do I feel about the cliche? How do I feel about the phrase or their use of it?
How do you feel about the cliche?
Well, the cliche, yeah, it makes sense. I think it's just a fun and pithy way to say people have learned behaviors, right? And you kind of emulate what your experience is. If people have hurt you in the past, if that's what you know and that's what you've taken in over the course of your life, that's what you're going to put back out because that's what comes naturally because that's what you've observed and experienced in the world around you. Like, it makes sense.
It just feels like such a... Like, I don't think I have a problem with the sentiment. I have a problem with the phrase. Like, it's such a... Feels like a kindergarten level cliche phrase.
Yeah, it's used to teach kids that...
Ugh. It sounds so dumb. Like, you hear other cliches. A lot of cliches don't have dumb little phrases to them, I guess, like that. You know, it's like the cliche is just like the action is you're being a cliche right now by doing this thing or saying or acting this way, right? But like this one specifically is like, oh, hurt people, and it's like, oh, I hate it. Don't say that to me.
You hate that hurt people too? Who hurt you?
Apparently, hurt people.
Some hurt person hurt you, and you can't get over it.
Yeah, apparently that's what I'm being led to believe. Who was the original person that was hurt? Who started this chain of violence that has led to all violence in the world?
The chain of, you know what it is? It's kind of like in How I Met Your Mother, the chain of screaming.
Yeah,
How the boss has a bad day, so he screams at his employee, who screams at his family. Yeah, it's that. It just goes on down the chain. But hurt people. Well, that cliche aside, I like the use of it here even. But I just like the imagery here. The song, sings millions of years go by, memories of peace and love. But the whole time you're just laser focused on this one moment in time. And you just kind of watch things happen around you.
Is there a barking dog for you?
No. But the barking dog is such an interesting, function in this story.
Wait, am I your barking dog?
No.
You're talking to me.
No, I think that's a bad parallel to draw. This song is all about a narrator who's struggling with suicidal thoughts. And they had already written the song beforehand, but in the context of Sarah's sister passing away, Barking Dog kind of took on a new meaning and a new emotional weight when they recorded it. And so the barking dog in the song is such like a grounding image. Whether you're kind of going out of your mind a little bit talking to the barking dog, like there's some kind of solution in that, or whether you're trying to ignore the barking dog because it's interrupting you in this moment where you're trying to take things to a dark place. It just serves such an interesting purpose. In this song where millions of years go by and there's the demon voice and hurt people and I'm so sorry and I'm lost in all these thoughts, the barking dog as an image kind of pierces right through that and brings you back to reality. Even though you try to ignore it, it's here and it's persistent, and it just really is such an interesting way to put you in the shoes of the speaker. But again, the intensity, the strings.
Yeah, the strings are great.
It's a situation where I almost wish there was more like this on the album, but at the same time, I don't, because I like how unique this song is and how unique it needs to be for what it is. It's kind of another good use of the drone. They hang on one note for a long time for a lot of the string parts, just like we talked about with the Velvet Underground. But that's Barking Dog. Up next is the shortest song on the album, You're Mine. Again, though, it doesn't feel like the shortest song. Much like Funeral Pyre doesn't feel like one of the longest, You're Mine doesn't feel like one of the shortest. It samples Am I a Good Man by Them Too. Also, side note, isn't it kind of fun to hear samples in a different context than like straight up hip hop? Like so many times times when we talk about samples, it's a rap song or, some other hip hop context. I think this is a really neat album because of the ways that it recycles and repurposes music, like audio upcycling, right? Not that the old songs are like bad or need to be upcycled, but just in general, it's really cool to see all the different ways they can manipulate a sample from a blues song or a soul song or a pop song and turn it into something that's distinctly Phantogram.
Yeah.
Especially the sampling on Your Mind, where they just kind of gradually tone it down until it becomes this big, resonant, fat bass sound. I love that so much. On the chorus, ba 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 ba, like that's really captivating. It's kind of a return to form. After the deviations of Cruel World and Barking Dog, Your Mind kind of brings us back into the same vein of You Don't Get Me High Anymore and Same Old Blues. Good album sequencing this time, because Your Mind kind of stands alone on an island. It's a song that's about a pretty possessive relationship.
Yeah, it is.
Not necessarily the healthiest in the way that it's portrayed. Come a little closer. Don't look in anyone's eyes. Don't look at nothing.
It's how I treat the ice cream in my freezer.
Because you're mine. Focus on me. Look me in the eyes. Ice cream. Eat your ego. Swallow your pride.
Those are the flavors.
Ego and pride.
Surprisingly, no gluttony flavor.
Hey, what do you know? My ice cream is really full of itself, and I'm really full of it. I really like the drums on Your Mind, too. Ooh, another good moment for them. I also like that this is a song where they kind of trade vocals. That hasn't happened a lot on this album yet. Usually, it's kind of been one or the other.
Yeah.
And Your Mind does a good job at giving us both in one.
We get a couple of those kind of together.
Yeah, and I like it a lot. I think they've got a really great dynamic, vocally and instrumentally. I think they're on the same page. Now, they wrote Barking Dog ahead of Sarah's sister passing, but the next track, Answer, was written in response to that and kind of in the aftermath, in the wake and in the grief. Answer is what came out. Answer is way more in the beginning of Cruel World vein. It never gets very big, but that doesn't mean that they don't put their own thumbprint on it with really interesting time signatures and time signature changes. The song almost sounds like your computer is having a problem.
Yeah.
You got to check your headphones Bluetooth connection or whatever when Answer comes on. Did it throw you for a loop?
No, I don't think it really got me, but I do really like Answer.
I do too. I think it keeps you engaged.
Yeah, and I think Josh's vocals on this were the perfect choice.
Very much so. Yeah.
But then, there's another one where they kind of trade off a little.
It's true. I can't imagine this would be an easy song to play live or something. Like, just the way that they'd have to play the piano and the keys to match that time signature and the change. I'm a big fan of weird rhythms in songs, right? And Answer is about as off as it gets while still sounding exactly, like, perfect for this song and this style.
The way it ends, though.
With, like, the fake, like, the cassette tape kind of clicking over.
It clicks. But then also his voice like dribbles off.
Yeah, it's cool, right? I like that a lot.
Almost like the tape's running out, right? Like they were gotten distorted or messed up at the end.
Yeah, like we ran out of time before we could get an answer. He's asking, I need an answer, and time's cut short abruptly.
Exactly.
You never get the answer. And it's almost as kind of like the tape kind of degrades over time. The start of the song is all clean, and by the end, his voice, you're right, is pretty garbled and stuff. And it kind of explains the skips and the kind of jumps that we get in the tape effect. I like it a lot. It's a good sound toy.
Yeah.
But up next is the song we actually talked about them using sound toys for, Run Run Blood. Such an interesting song this one is. There's some like saxophones in this. There's a lot of big space. This is a song that takes up a lot of sonic room, I feel like. Answer was quiet, right? You're all gathered in close and huddled to hear Answer. Run Run Blood, this is a song that's on the offensive, because there's lions in here.
Yeah, lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
Well, just lions and wolves, I guess.
Yeah, the tigers and bears were on vacation.
Right. But there's lions in here, there's lions in here, there's lions in here.
Oh, also apparently there are a swarm of bees.
Yes. Yeah.
They made it there.
You gotta follow them into the swarm of bees. Walk through the fire with me.
Yeah. Was it supposed to be distorted in a way that made you think they could almost be saying there are liars in here?
Yeah, I think maybe.
Did you get that? Because at first I thought that's what they were saying. Now, also, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm supposed to follow them into the swarm of bees.
Yeah.
And then swallow everything I don't believe. What if I don't believe in bees?
Swallow them.
And then I'm supposed to drink away all the memories. say goodbye to my family.
Yeah, it's bigger than life. It's bigger than love.
Well,
You got to really make sacrifices to go after this, to run blood.
what is run blood? Why do I have to sacrifice all these things to get my blood working? My blood should be running all the time.
That's what
my
your heart's for. I don't know. I think it's just another one of those songs that,
Not sure what it's supposed to be conveying.
yeah, I think in the same way that they meant for You Don't Get Me High Anymore to be open-ended. Run Blood is kind of like that. It's just kind of meant to pump you up generally. I don't feel like it's about any one specific circumstance or situation. It's just time to make the sacrifice, time to say goodbye, time to get out there and get after what you're chasing. It's open to interpretation.
Now, what do you think about Destroyer?
Just like Funeral Pyre kind of feels like the album opener to me, I feel like Destroyer is the proper album closer to me. There's just something about its energy.
It has last track energy.
It does. And this is a proper ballad. There's not the shoegazey kind of production on it, right? This feels very straightforward in the way that it's made. And it's not really a title track, but it's always evoked the album art for me because of this big fire, this raging flame, and I get to Destroyer, and I said, yeah, look at that album cover, right? That's destroying. That's destruction in progress. And that kind of, for me, ties the full circle between a Funeral Pyre, right? Being on fire and set adrift into the afterlife, right? That's fire involved. And then Destroyer at the end kind of, at least for me, rekindles, pun intended, that imagery. And it's the same. It's a song about finally being alone. I'm a destroyer. I'm ready to take down everything around me so that I can finally have peace and be by myself. What did you think of Destroyer?
I really like Destroyer. Is that a surprise, being the ballad guy?
No, and kind of.
Oh,
I think I always overlook Destroyer.
I can tell that a lot of people do. Only 3.7 million plays? Come on.
Bill Murray could do better than that. Now I'm imagining Bill Murray covering this song, and that's weird.
I think imagining Bill Murray cover just about any song is a pretty funny thought.
It's true, especially in like his Caddyshack voice. Anyway, Destroyer is a really dramatic song. That's what I think about when I listen to Destroyer. It's dramatic.
It is.
And it's not unwarranted. I mean, the whole album has been a little bit of over-the-top theatrics.
I agree with you that this should be the closer.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. And I think that belief is reinforced by the fact that the actual closer is Calling All. And that kind of feels like, I mean, musically, it fits the sonic profile of the album to a T. Exactly. But lyrically, it almost has no business being on this album at all. It doesn't fit thematically.
No, I think this is the second album structure blunder. I don't think You Don't Get Me High Anymore should have been right after Same Old Blues, and I don't think this should have been the end of the album.
I can agree with both of those points, except I would even go so far as to say Calling All should just be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, again, sonically, it fits. Sure, fine. I really actually like the sound of it. I like the style of it. But I just, thematically, I don't see it having a place in these songs about cruel world and living the same old blues, about struggling to find happiness in the things that once brought you joy, you know, finding answers to life's hard questions and trying to power through all the problems and then calling all the call girls, shake it. You know you want to shake it. Like, it is such an outlier in that regard. But it is a fun song, and it does really get stuck in my head. It feels like a song that's only here because the album needed a 10th track. Like 33 minutes and 9 tracks wasn't enough. So we kind of got this little extra. And I guess if we're going to consider Destroyer the end of the album, this is the encore, the take a bow kind of song.
Sure.
I don't think it has that quality to it. I don't think it lives up to the position it's in, which is a shame. But anyway, that's all 10 tracks. It's such a quick, short little album with a lot of interesting tropes and tendencies that we don't often see, and I kind of like. A lot of cool samples. This is all Final Spin, by the way, I guess. Get into Final Spin. There are a lot of really cool samples that they use in interesting ways. I think enough of the songs fall under the umbrella of what this album's doing thematically, with the lone exception of Calling All. I feel like the album's thematically very consistent. Lyrically, there's a lot of variation. In a song like You're Mine, right? It's got a ton of lyrics, whereas a song like Funeral Pyre has very few lyrics. I think it's a good attempt to show their range and what they can do. Musically, I'm giving 3 and 88. I think a lot of these songs are really, really intriguing, especially with like the uniqueness of Answer or just the general chopped up sample style of Same Old Blues. Like, I like a lot that's going on here musically. 82 for the lyrics. Calling All does give the lyrics a pretty big ding, I gotta say. And I feel like one of the weaknesses of this album is its open-endedness. Yeah, maybe it's a strength for You Don't Get Me High Anymore to leave things kind of open-ended, but like you talked about on Run Run Blood or whatever, I kind of want a little more specifics. I kind of need something a little less open-ended lyrically. But 82 is my lyrical score. Instruments and production getting an 86. It's really cool that they're both multi-instrumentalists, and it's really strange that this album has so few identifiable instruments. I don't know if that's just a product of the shoegaze, but like pick a random section of Calling All or You Don't Get Me High Anymore and see if you can tell me what instrument's playing, if it's not like a drum, you know? I like that ambiguity. It's a really unique thing. 86 for instruments and production. Overall vibe, 87. The sequencing, you're right, is a little funky, but overall the album is really intense and intriguing and quick. I think it is a pretty fast listen. I kind of wish it wasn't called 3 or 3 with a buzz cut. I kind of wish it had a real title.
Whoa, hang on. Crew Cut 3. Don't knock it.
Well, I'm not knocking it inherently. I'm just saying I wish the album had a real title. Would you call it Destroyer? Would you call it something else? I wonder in the end why they went with 3 when you've got such a thematically fitting group of songs. Like, it would be so easy to put them under an umbrella, and they just choose not to and call the album 3. And I'm really curious about the rationale behind that. Anyway, its overall score is an 86.6, which lands it at number 240 and puts it right below Avril Lavigne, which is a comparison that makes sense to me. You know, kind of an emotional punk edge. But that also puts it right above Randy Travis, which is a hard comparison to conceive of. Go from Digging Up Bones to You Don't Get Me High Anymore. See how you feel after that.
I mean, kind of the same sentiment.
Well, in a certain sense. Yeah, I guess it is. So yeah, number 240 for me, this Mixtober.
What a coincidence. I'm also giving this one a 240 out of 10. How could you
Wow.
Like, what?
It's kind of a hidden gem for me, I think, in terms of albums that I just randomly discovered one way or another.
I also really enjoyed this album. This was a good one to bring. I enjoyed discovering this album.
Yeah, I thought it was also, Mixtober-y.
I still don't know why you keep saying that.
Cruel World, Themes of Death, Running Blood.
None of that has anything to do with Mixtober. That's Halloween.
What do you think Mixtober is? Why do you think we focus on Mixtober?
It's a celebration of the dastard himself and all things dastardly, like masks and costumes and candy and trickery.
Well, that sounds an awful lot like Halloween to me.
For me, I'll just go ahead and give you the score.
Ooh, is he going to give it a 3 just because it's called 3?
I'm giving it 3 threes, which makes it a 9.
Whoa! I thought you meant your unit was going to be, you're giving 3 threes. And I was like, that's crazy. Okay, but you're giving it a 9. That's way different.
Yeah.
Okay.
9 sound toys out of 10.
Now, is that Toys TOY or Toys TOI, like the Big Boy?
I think it's got to be TOI.
Fair enough.
I really enjoyed it. It's going to slot in right below Tina Turner.
Below is the correct place to put that. Tina was also a Mixtober pick, loosely.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Now, do I get all my top threes?
This is the last week you are still encumbered.
Ugh. That's a shame.
You could take almost a third of the album, and really a full third of the album if you pretend Calling All isn't here.
That's a real shame. That's really destroyed me.
No. Good to know. Good to know, I guess.
I'm destroyed right now.
Uh-huh.
My top 3, and only 3, Funeral Pyre.
Who started strong then? Would not have made my top 3.
Same Old Blues.
Would have made my top 3.
And Answer.
Maybe could have been my Jamesable mention.
My honorable mention has been destroyed. Lost to time.
Okay, we got the hint. We got the hint the first time.
Yeah, but I have to say that a couple times because that way it's harder for you to cut them out.
I don't do it anyway. Sometimes I do, but not often.
Sometimes you do.
The Wellerman really took you out for top 3s.
Yeah.
You took 8.
I did. Yeah, I think there's some structuring problems with this album. I think there was some lyrical confusion problems with this album. But all in all, I enjoyed pretty much all of these songs.
That's cool.
And once I start listening to them in whatever order I feel like on my shuffled playlist, won't matter.
You'll appreciate You Won't Get Me High Anymore a lot more I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I don't know if it can get me high anymore.
It can. It'll get you high better.
That's what they say when they're trying to get you to like try a new drug.
Yeah, that's the pitch. That's the whole pitch.
That one won't get you high anymore, but this one will.
This is what the Year of Discovery is all about. Because you know what? I don't know if I ever would have predicted that this one would get a 9 from you. I'm a little surprised.
I'll be honest, I was pretty locked into a 9 2 tracks in, and it did kind of wiggle at one point in the middle, but then it came back.
Okay. 2 tracks in is a really early time to go 9.
I mean, it was 2 9-worthy tracks in a row.
2 tracks that made your top 3 in a row, so that checks out. But it's time to put your money where your mouth is.
But I'm struggling with my playlist pick.
Yeah, the playlist picks are the real kicker.
I want to put Funeral Pyre on there. It sounds like you wouldn't.
That's probably correct. I wouldn't, veto it.
I also think Same Old Blues belongs. Really, all 3 of my top 3s I'd like to put on the playlist. And so I will kind of pick one, I guess, based off of what you pick.
Oh, so I have to go first.
There's a couple different ways I could go, depending on how I want to complement your pick.
I'm sorry. I think I'm going to have to torpedo your Same Old Blues pick and take You Don't Get Me High Anymore.
What makes you think that's going to torpedo it?
Well, I think you said that they were very similar.
Yeah.
And if you were picking for the playlist and I picked You Don't Get Me High Anymore, I would assume you'd be inclined to lean away from Same Old Blues and move more towards Answer or Funeral Pyre. I just think, personally, between the two, Same Old Blues and You Don't Get Me High Anymore, You Don't Get Me High Anymore is a favorite for me. I mean, Barking Dog also is, but that's a little heavy, I think, for the playlist. So I'm kind of leaning more towards You Don't Get Me High Anymore. I like the dynamics of it. I like the different styles it incorporates. And this is the part of the show where Connor re-listens to snippets of all of his favorite songs to decide what makes the playlist.
Yeah. I think I'm going to... What's the opposite of a torpedo? Torpedo's like an underground missile, so like airstrike.
No, but I don't think there is really an opposite of a torpedo.
Well, I'm going to airstrike your high and take Same Old Blues.
Oh, I think you just took the hit from my torpedo is what you did. You just ignored it. I was kind of thinking you'd move to Answer or Funeral Pyre or something else, but Same Old Blues, just you couldn't shake it, huh?
Well, I was going to take Answer if you took Same Old Blues.
Right.
But when you didn't take Same Old Blues, that kind of knocked Answer out. I think Answer and Same Old Blues would be a good pairing, but I don't think Answer and You Don't Get Me High Anymore really work together. And so then I was like, what about Funeral Pyre? And I think Funeral Pyre instrumentally actually sounds maybe closer to You Don't Get Me High Anymore. And so that kind of left me with Same Old Blues.
You know, I guess that makes sense.
So that's where we are. Back-to-back picks. The Spin It Podcast way.
Again, as usual. Well, that's wonderful. That brings us to the end of another episode. Hey, happy end of another episode.
Hey, I got you a gift.
Oh, an end of episode gift? Really? For me?
Yeah.
Wow. What is it?
It's a new sound toy.
Wow. Can you tell me what it is, or at least maybe just tell me the name of it?
I'm scared to come up with names of sound toys after watching what the Mixtaper did.
That's true. Maybe we should leave it to the professionals.
Yeah.
I don't know how to transition out of that, so let me just tell you, thanks for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you're listening and give us a little rating or a comment or whatever you want. You can find us on social media at SpinItPodOfficial.
It's called the Zibbity Flop.
Okay, he thought of a name. The Zibbity Flop. That sounds like it would make an aggressive and sad kind of noise. Well, before I was interrupted by the Zibbity Flop, I was about to tell you that you can find us on Instagram at SpinItPodOfficial.
Zippity Flop, please. There's P's, not B's. Zippity.
You can find us on Instagram at SpinItPodOfficial, or you can find us on X at SpinItPod. And you can find us at our website, www.spinitpod.com.
A lot of cool stuff there.
Darn right. We'll see you next week for the continuation of this magical month of mixing and October. And you might even hear Connor say something silly like this if you're lucky.
A little oink oink here, a little oink oink there.
If you're lucky. He doesn't always say stuff like that, but...
I pretty much always say stuff like that.
Pretty much always. Odds are high. Tell a friend who doesn't get you high anymore about the podcast. Maybe that will improve your relationship.
And then thank them for helping you quit drugs.
Yeah. This episode was secretly an intervention.
Hey, no, I thought this was supposed to be my thing now. You keep stealing it back.
Well, I usually say one and then you say I'm good at correcting you. And so my goal this time was to say one so that you'd correct me and come up with...
Oh, and instead I just got mad.
You did. Yeah, it didn't really...
Tell a friend who you think can be the best a man can get.
Can be.
No. I had to double check it there. I was like, did I get it wrong again?
Nope. I'm just never going to say it the right way again, though. Gillette, not a sponsor. We will see you next time. And until we do, keep spinning.
crew cut, crew cut, crew cut, crew cut.
Well, now you got it down. Now that the credits are rolling, why didn't you do that in the episode?
That's a cruel world.
It is.
It's a crew world.
It's a crew.
And I can't cut it.
Can't cut it in this crew world. It's hard out here for a 3.
Dang, you call me a 3? Dang.
I feel like I called me a 3, but like the number 3, but like a crew cut 3, like the cool one.
Oh yeah, we're the cool 3s. Couple of cool 3s.
Cool crew cut 3s.
Crew cut.
Flawless.